As Amelia's stomach churned with anxiety, she braced herself for the interview at the bustling construction company across town. This moment was not merely about securing a job, it was about clawing her way back from the abyss after her mother's death had shattered her world. The weight of grief hung heavy on her shoulders, but she carried a glimmer of hope in the form of her mother's ring, a symbol of enduring love and connection. What happened next was a breathtaking reminder that even in our darkest hours, unexpected miracles can light our path and renew our faith in the unseen bond. I believed I was utterly alone after losing my mom. Then, an unexpected encounter changed everything. A total stranger noticed my ring, and what unfolded next was beyond my wildest dreams. Amelia wore her mother's cherished ring to a job interview, hoping it would bring her comfort and strength. Little did she know, the interviewer possessed an identical ring, which led to an extraordinary revelation that would transform her life forever. If you are not subscribed, I recommend you subscribe and activate the bell so you don't miss any videos. Hello everyone, and welcome to Tales Unveiled. Today, I am thrilled to share a heartwarming story with you. Let's dive in. These that unite us. Amelia's journey to this moment had been fraught with emotional turmoil. Each step she took towards the interview room felt like wading through a sea of sorrow. Her mother had always been her rock, her guiding star, and losing her felt like losing a part of her soul. The ring she wore was more than a piece of jewelry, it was a tangible link to her mother's warmth, wisdom, and unwavering support. It whispered stories of their shared laughter, late-night talks, and the gentle reassurances that only a mother could give. As she entered the interview room, her eyes met those of the interviewer, a woman named Jane. Amelia's nerves were palpable, and she clutched her mother's ring as if it were a lifeline. Jane's eyes fell upon the ring, and a look of astonishment crossed her face. Slowly, Jane extended her hand, revealing an identical ring glinting on her finger. The room seemed to hold its breath as the two women stared at each other in disbelief. Jane's voice trembled with emotion as she recounted the story of her ring. It had been a gift from her late mother, a symbol of love and legacy passed down through generations. The realization that they both wore the same ring created an instant, profound connection between them. Tears welled up in Amelia's eyes as she listened, her heart swelling with a sense of kinship and understanding that she hadn't felt in a long time. This astonishing coincidence was more than a mere happenstance, it was a beacon of hope in Amelia's life, a divine reminder that she was not alone. The interview transformed into an emotional exchange, where stories of their mothers intertwined and resonated deeply within them. Jane shared her journey of loss and healing, offering Amelia a glimmer of hope and the comforting thought that life, despite its harshness, held beautiful surprises and connections waiting to be discovered. By the end of the interview, Amelia felt a sense of peace she hadn't known since her mother's passing. The job offer she received was more than a professional opportunity, it was a lifeline extended by someone who understood her pain and shared her story. As she left the building, Amelia touched her ring, a smile playing on her lips. She realized that her mother's love would always guide her, leading her to people and places where she could find solace and strength. In that moment, Amelia understood that even in the depths of her grief, life had the power to surprise her with moments of profound beauty and connection. The stranger who had noticed her ring was no longer a stranger but a kindred spirit, someone whose presence in her life was a testament to the mysterious ways in which love and loss can unite us all. Excitement battled with a familiar pang of loss, a stark reminder that nothing would ever bring her mother back. Still, with her father's quiet strength beside her, she pressed on, determined to build a future worthy of the woman who had shaped her. On the morning of the interview, Amelia looked up at the overcast sky, almost seeking a sign. The world felt a little less vibrant without her mom. Instead of dwelling on the sadness, she straightened her shoulders, remembering the lessons her mother had taught her: resilience, the quiet strength found in hard work. These memories propelled her to pursue her goals, believing that each step forward was a tribute to the woman who brought her into the world. Amelia stood in front of the mirror, her heart a tumultuous mix of excitement and sorrow. The thrill of a new opportunity clashed with the deep ache of her mother's absence, a poignant reminder that no success could fill the void left by her loss. Her father's unwavering support was her anchor, his quiet strength a beacon guiding her through the storm of emotions. Together they had weathered the darkest days, and now, with his encouragement, she was ready to face this new challenge. As dawn broke on the day of the interview, Amelia glanced at the overcast sky, as if searching for a sign from above. The world around her seemed muted, the vibrant colors of life dimmed by her grief. Yet, instead of succumbing to the weight of her sadness, she drew upon the inner fortitude her mother had instilled in her. With a deep breath, she straightened her shoulders, recalling the countless lessons of resilience and perseverance her mother had imparted. Her mother's teachings echoed in her mind the importance of hard work, the power of determination, and the quiet strength that comes from facing adversity head-on. These cherished memories were her driving force, propelling her forward even in the face of overwhelming loss. Each step she took was a testament to her mother's enduring influence, a tribute to the woman who had shaped her into who she was. Amelia knew that this interview was more than just a professional opportunity, it was a pivotal moment in her journey of healing and self-discovery. The world might have lost some of its luster without her mother's presence, but Amelia was determined to forge ahead, to create a future that honored her mother's legacy. As she walked towards the interview room, she felt a surge of confidence, knowing that her mother's spirit was with her, guiding her every step of the way. The overcast sky, once a symbol of her grief, now seemed to hold a promise of new beginnings. Amelia's heart swelled with a mixture of hope and determination. She understood that while nothing could ever replace her mother, the strength and love she had inherited would always be a part of her. With each stride, she embraced the future, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, knowing that her mother's legacy lived on within her. Amelia woke up extra early that day, her nerves buzzing with a blend of anticipation and nostalgia. Every detail of her appearance had to be just right, a tribute to the meticulous standards her mother had taught her. She chose to wear the navy suit her mother had expertly sewn for her, a simple but impeccably tailored piece that held profound sentimental value. It wasn't ostentatious, but the fabric seemed to carry the warmth of her mother's hands, wrapping Amelia in a comforting embrace. The position she aimed for was as an office assistant to Mr. Reynolds, the no-nonsense foreman known throughout the company for his efficiency and exacting standards. The job wasn't glamorous, but it promised the stability and structure Amelia craved. Being part of Mr. Reynolds' team was a step towards the responsible, self-sufficient life she desired. It was a chance to prove her worth, to build a foundation upon which she could rebuild her life after the devastating loss of her mother. As Amelia grabbed her bag and prepared to leave, her eyes lingered on the photo of her mother propped on the side table. A wave of sadness tightened her chest, her heart aching with the familiar pang of loss. Her gaze then fell to her hand, where she wore a distinctive, well-worn ring that had belonged to her mother. It was more than a piece of jewelry, it was a tangible link to her past, a reminder of the family ties she never fully understood but deeply cherished. Where there's hope, the inscription on the inside read a phrase that had always given her a sense of quiet strength. The morning air was crisp as Amelia stepped outside, each breath she took filled with the bittersweet blend of sorrow and determination. Her mother's teachings of resilience echoed in her mind, urging her to press on. The path to the construction company felt like a journey towards not just a job, but a new chapter in her life. She clutched her mother's ring tightly, drawing comfort and courage from its presence. As she made her way to the interview, her thoughts were a whirl of memories and aspirations. She remembered her mother's laughter, her gentle guidance, and the unwavering support that had always been there, even in the toughest times. Those memories were now the fuel that drove her forward, propelling her toward a future she hoped would honor her mother's legacy. Entering the office building, Amelia took a deep breath, steeling herself for the challenge ahead. The overcast sky outside seemed to mirror her emotions, a mix of uncertainty and hope. But she knew that with her mother's spirit guiding her, she could face whatever lay ahead. Each step she took was a testament to her resilience, a tribute to the enduring love that had shaped her into the strong, determined woman she was. The photo of her mother, the navy suit, the ring inscribed with hope, all these were more than just symbols. They were pieces of a past that had built her present, and they would be the foundation of her future. As Amelia approached Mr. Reynolds's office, she felt a surge of confidence. She was ready to take on the world, armed with the love and lessons her mother had given her, and determined to create a life that would make her mother proud. In the bustling waiting room, Amelia found herself engulfed by a sea of strangers, each face foreign and intimidating. The other candidates exuded an aura of refined self-assurance, their polished portfolios clutched confidently in their hands. Their body language radiated a sense of calm professionalism that only heightened Amelia's feelings of unease. She felt a wave of alienation wash over her, acutely aware of her perceived inadequacies. It seemed everyone else possessed more experience, a deeper understanding of the industry lingo that bounced off the walls around her, resonating with an almost intimidating familiarity. As she sat there, her mind spiraled into a whirlpool of self-doubt. Each glance at the confident candidates around her made her feel smaller, her confidence eroding with every passing second. A creeping sense of inadequacy began to gnaw at her insides, leaving her feeling vulnerable and exposed. Her heart raced, and her palms grew clammy, betraying her growing anxiety. In a futile attempt to calm herself, she took deep breaths, but the effort only served to amplify the pounding in her chest. Suddenly, an unexpected giggle bubbled up from her throat, a nervous reflex she couldn't control. In this stern, high-stakes environment, the sound of laughter was jarringly out of place, like a discordant note in a solemn symphony. As it slipped from her lips, all eyes snapped towards her, and a flush of mortification seared through her cheeks. The embarrassment was instantaneous and overwhelming, a fiery rush that made her wish she could disappear. Desperately, she buried her face in a company brochure, her hands trembling as she struggled to regain her composure and quell the rising tide of anxiety. The atmosphere grew increasingly oppressive as, one by one, the candidates vanished behind a formidable, heavy door. Each time it creaked open, Amelia caught a fleeting glimpse of the office beyond, its air thick with formality and unspoken expectations. The brief sight of the professional setting, coupled with the somber expressions of those returning, only served to magnify her apprehension. The enigma of what transpired behind that door only intensified her sense of dread. She imagined rigorous interrogations, the kind of grilling that laid bare every flaw and weakness. As the minutes ticked by, the weight of anticipation became almost unbearable. Every sound and every movement in the room seemed amplified, contributing to her growing sense of panic. She could feel her resolve weakening, the battle against her nerves becoming increasingly difficult to fight. Her thoughts raced uncontrollably, flitting from one worry to the next. What if she stumbled over her words? What if she couldn't answer their questions? The fear of failure loomed large, casting a long shadow over her spirit. In this moment of vulnerability, Amelia felt utterly alone, despite being surrounded by people. The supportive words of friends and family seemed distant and unreachable, replaced by a chorus of self-doubt. She longed for a reassuring smile, a gesture of kindness that could bolster her faltering confidence. But the room offered no such comfort, only a relentless reminder of the daunting challenge ahead. With each candidate's disappearance behind that imposing door, the room's tension escalated, and the silence between her anxious breaths grew heavier. Amelia closed her eyes for a moment, trying to summon a sense of inner strength. She reminded herself of her qualifications, the hard work she had put in, and the passion that had driven her this far. But even as she clung to these thoughts, the reality of the situation pressed down on her, a relentless weight that made it difficult to breathe. The door creaked open once more, and her name was finally called. Heart pounding, she stood up, her legs feeling like jelly. As she walked towards the threshold of the unknown, 1,000 thoughts raced through her mind, each one a mix of hope and fear. With a deep breath, she stepped forward, determined to face whatever awaited her with as much courage as she could muster. When Amelia's name was finally called, she felt a surge of adrenaline that made her legs nearly buckle beneath her. She took a deep, steadying breath, seeking solace in the familiar texture of her mother's suit as she smoothed out its wrinkle-free fabric. The suit, though a symbol of her mother's unwavering support, now felt like a shield against the overwhelming nervousness that threatened to engulf her. Mr. Reynolds's office was far from the grand, imposing spaces she had envisioned. Instead, it was a modest, cramped area nestled at the back of a construction trailer. The room was cluttered with blueprints strewn haphazardly across his desk, and a well-worn hard hat hung from the back of his chair, evidence of the years spent in the gritty world of construction. The stark contrast between the understated office and the polished surroundings Amelia was accustomed to only heightened her sense of unease. Mr. Reynolds extended a hand in greeting, and Amelia shook it firmly, her surprise evident at the rough, calloused texture of his palm. It was a reminder of the hands that had built and shaped, contrasting sharply with the smoothness of her own. As the interview commenced, her initial tension began to dissolve. Mr. Reynolds was direct in his approach, but his questions were fair and straightforward. Amelia found solace in the genuine nature of the conversation, and her honesty seemed to resonate positively with him. She spoke with earnestness about her eagerness to learn, her readiness to start from the very bottom, and her unwavering work ethic. Though she stumbled over the more complex construction terminology, her sincerity and genuine passion set her apart from others who merely masked their insecurities with jargon. As the interview drew to a close, Mr. Reynolds, a man not known for his sentimental inclinations, suddenly paused. His gaze shifted to Amelia's hands with an intensity that caught her off guard. "That ring," he said slowly, his voice tinged with curiosity. "It looks familiar. Where did you get it?" Amelia's heart skipped a beat, and she hesitated for a moment before responding. "It was my mother's," she said softly, her voice trailing off as she grappled with how much to disclose. "She always wore it." Mr. Reynolds' interest seemed piqued. "Mind if I take a closer look?" he asked, leaning forward slightly. Amelia hesitated again, but with a mix of apprehension and trust, she slipped the ring off her finger and handed it to him. As Mr. Reynolds turned the delicate piece of jewelry over in his weathered hand, his expression shifted from curiosity to surprise, then to disbelief. The moment was charged with an unexpected weight, leaving Amelia to wonder what significance the ring held and what it might reveal about the man sitting across from her. From his pocket, Mr. Reynolds carefully withdrew a ring that bore an uncanny resemblance to Amelia's. It was worn and aged, but the similarity was unmistakable. As he examined it closely, Amelia's breath caught in her throat when she saw the familiar inscription etched into the inner band, "There's always light with a trembling hand, Mr." Reynolds brought his ring alongside Amelia's. As the two rings aligned, the full inscription emerged: "Where there's hope, there's always light." The connection between the two pieces was undeniable, and the moment was charged with a profound realization that left Amelia momentarily speechless. Mr. Reynolds' voice, usually so steady and commanding, was now thick with emotion. "My father had these rings made," he began, his tone laced with nostalgia and sadness. "One for me and one for my sister." His eyes, usually so hardened by years of industry and experience, were now brimming with unshed tears. A rush of shock and understanding flooded over Amelia, making it clear that this was no mere coincidence. "Your sister," she began, her voice trembling as it barely rose above a whisper. "Mr." Reynolds's nod was slow but deliberate, and his eyes glistened with tears that threatened to fall. "My sister was your mother," he revealed, his voice breaking with the weight of the revelation. The truth hit Amelia like a powerful wave, sweeping away years of unanswered questions and a deep-seated yearning for something she hadn't even realized she was missing. The connection between them was suddenly tangible, a thread linking their lives in a way she had never imagined. As she glanced down at the ring on her finger, it now felt heavier, imbued with the weight of a familial bond and a shared history she was only beginning to uncover. The discovery was both overwhelming and illuminating, filling her heart with a complex mix of awe, sadness, and a profound sense of belonging. In that fleeting, extraordinary moment, the air between them seemed to hum with the echoes of the past and the possibilities of a future that now felt intimately intertwined. Mr. Reynolds, usually stoic and reserved, blinked back tears as he began to recount stories of his sister. Each word he spoke was imbued with a poignant mixture of joy and regret, as he grappled with the bittersweet reality of discovering his niece, only to find that he had missed the chance to reconnect with the sister he had lost so many years ago. His voice wavered, laden with the weight of a past fraught with sorrow and missed opportunities. He shared the heart-wrenching details of their childhood, how tragic circumstances had shattered their family, leaving them orphaned and adrift without any support. The siblings had been torn apart and sent to separate foster homes, and despite his relentless efforts to find her over the years, his search had been in vain. The records of that time had been entangled in bureaucratic chaos, rendering any hope of reunion nearly impossible. His attempts had been thwarted by lost documents and administrative errors, a cruel irony that had kept him from reuniting with the sister who had been so important to him. As Mr. Reynolds spoke, Amelia listened with rapt attention, her heart aching with empathy for the pain of a past she had never known. In turn, she began to share her memories of her mother, the quiet strength that had defined her, her remarkable skill as a seamstress, and the boundless love she had showered upon the daughter she had raised with such devotion. Amelia retrieved pictures from her phone, each image a snapshot of the mother she had cherished. As she presented these photographs, Mr. Reynolds' eyes grew wide with recognition. He saw in each smile, each gesture, a reflection of the sister he had been searching for all these years. The connection between them deepened with every shared memory and every glimpse of the past. The inscription on their rings, once a simple symbol of hope and light, now resonated with a profound and unexpected power. It had become a bridge between their lives, a tangible link to a family history that had long been fragmented. The rings, once a quiet source of solace, now held a new significance, embodying a reunion that neither of them had ever anticipated. The rest of the day unfolded in a whirlwind of emotions, transforming what had started as a routine job interview into a life-altering revelation. The professional aspirations and anxieties of the morning faded into the background, eclipsed by the astonishing discovery of a family connection that neither Amelia nor Mr. Reynolds had anticipated. The office, once a space of formal interrogation, had been replaced by an intimate atmosphere of shared discovery. Uncle and niece spent hours sifting through old photographs, each image serving as a bridge between their fragmented pasts. They marveled at sepia-toned snapshots of their ancestors, tracing the lines of their faces with a reverence that spoke of lost stories and untold histories. The photos were not merely images, but windows into a world that had been separated by time and circumstance. As they reminisced about faces and places, there was a poignant sense of mourning for the lost opportunities and years that had slipped through their fingers. Yet, woven through this mourning was a profound joy, a sense of wonder at the unexpected connection that had been unearthed. Mr. Reynolds, typically reserved and stoic, became animated as he recounted the chapters of his own life. His stories flowed with a mix of nostalgia and pride, revealing the layers of a life well lived. He spoke with deep affection for his wife, who had been the bedrock of his world, providing stability and love through the years. With a hint of gruffness in his voice that only underscored the depth of his emotion, he described their shared journey, the triumphs and trials that had marked their partnership. As he pulled out his phone, his eyes sparkled with a mixture of pride and tenderness. He showed Amelia pictures of his sons, each photograph a snapshot of their growing years and adventures. His stories of their exploits were punctuated with moments of laughter and a deep, abiding love. He spoke of their achievements with a fervor that illuminated his face, revealing a side of him that was both fierce and tender. Amelia listened intently, absorbing the rich tapestry of her newfound family. The idea of cousins, of being part of a larger, more vibrant family, filled her with an exhilarating sense of hope and possibility. The images of Mr. Reynolds's children, the anecdotes of their lives, painted a picture of a family dynamic that was lively and full of potential. It was a stark contrast to the quiet solitude she had known, and the prospect of joining such a boisterous and affectionate clan was both thrilling and comforting. As the day progressed, the bond between Amelia and Mr. Reynolds deepened, transcending the initial surprise and evolving into something profoundly meaningful. The shared discovery of their familial connection opened doors to new possibilities, offering Amelia a glimpse of a future rich with the promise of togetherness and belonging. The emotional exchange was a balm for the recent losses she had faced, offering her a renewed sense of identity and place within a larger family narrative. With each shared memory and each new piece of information, the connection between them grew stronger. The weight of the past was balanced by the warmth of newfound kinship, and the promise of future family gatherings filled Amelia with a sense of anticipation. The prospect of joining in the celebrations, of sharing in the laughter and stories that had been part of Mr. Reynolds's life was a beacon of hope and joy. As the sun set, marking the end of a day that had transformed their lives, Amelia and Mr. Reynolds parted with a sense of fulfillment and optimism. The unexpected twist had not only revealed a long-lost family connection, but had also opened the door to a future brimming with potential. In the quiet moments that followed, as they reflected on the day's revelations, the rings, once mere symbols of hope, now held a profound significance, embodying the reunion of family and the promise of a shared journey ahead. "They'd love you, Mr. Reynolds said simply, his words resonating with a deep, genuine affection that made Amelia's heart swell with emotion. The reassurance in his voice was a balm to her soul, soothing the lingering uncertainties and fears that had accompanied her on this unexpected journey. Over the following weeks, as Amelia immersed herself in her new job and nurtured the blossoming relationship with Mr. Reynolds, an undeniable sense of destiny seemed to weave through her life. The transition into this new chapter was marked not only by professional growth but also by the profound personal connection she had discovered. The once mysterious rings, passed down from her grandfather and initially seen as symbols of an unknown longing, had become much more than mere artifacts. They had guided her to a family she had never known existed, transforming her understanding of herself and her place in the world. The rings, which had once been a source of quiet contemplation and distant hope, now served as a powerful reminder of the extraordinary gifts that life could offer, often in the most unexpected ways. They were emblematic of the idea that even amidst the chaos and unpredictability of life's twists and turns, there lay the potential for remarkable discoveries and profound connections if only one knew where to look. For Amelia, this new reality brought with it a sense of belonging that had previously eluded her. The world, which had once felt vast and isolating, now appeared infinitely more inviting and connected. The rings, symbolizing a bond that had transcended time and separation, whispered a promise that resonated deeply within her: where there is hope, there is always light. This promise, carried through the delicate metal of the rings, was a beacon of comfort and reassurance, guiding her forward with the certainty that, even in the darkest of times, light could be found and connections could be made. As she continued to build her life, both professionally and personally, Amelia carried with her the warmth of this newfound family and the enduring promise of the rings. Their presence was a constant reminder that life's most profound gifts often come from the most unexpected places, and that hope, like a guiding light, could lead one to a future filled with love and connection. Thank you for joining us on this journey today. As we've explored the complexities of familial relationships, personal growth, and the impact of various life choices, we hope you've gained valuable insights into these profound topics. We'd love to hear from you. What's one key lesson you've learned from this video that you plan to bring into your life? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this video helpful, please leave your comment, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Your support helps us continue bringing you content that inspires and empowers.